Hi, I'm Jona Weinhofen and I play guitar and sing for I Killed the Frog Queen. I started going to like hardcore and punk rock shows when I was probably about 16 years old. And I became a bit interested in body art probably in the year or two before that, so probably from about age 14. I really liked artists like The Prodigy, Sepultura, lots of other kind of older metal and new metal bands, and I noticed a lot of them had a lot of tattoos. And I started buying like tattoo magazines. There was one in particular called Savage, Tattoo Savage magazine. It had like a lot of body mods and yeah, lots of cool stuff. And then I basically did my research on different styles and different artists, and when I got to 19 years old, I found an artist who I wanted to do my first piece, and I had that done, and I've basically been working since then, so 11 years later. I've been tattooed. The first tattoo I got ever was actually done by Dan Smith, who has been on the LA Ink show recently, has his own shop over here in LA. But he started out tattooing in South Australia, where I'm from. Most of my recent pieces have been done by an artist called Derek Noble, who is from Seattle. He used to work in Lucky Devil Tattoo Studios, and then he bought that, and now it's called Dark Age Tattoo. And my actual most recent piece is my back piece, which is being done by a girl called Rachel Park. Her artist name is Rachy Brains, and she's from Brisbane, Queensland, Australia, and she has a shop there called Dark Throne. My first one was this dagger on my shoulders here. That was one done by Dan Smith. I kind of liked the old school style, and I'd seen that particular piece in a lot of like old sailor tattoos. My family has a real history with I guess the ocean and like nautical themed careers. My dad was in the Navy, my younger brother works on rig tending boats, so I liked the fact that the tattoo was like in a cool place, you know, like had a bit of a cool vibe to it, and it was just a real classic kind of old school tattoo. I don't like to think about that. I would say somewhere in the realm of maybe $10,000 to $18,000 over a long time. I have a couple. I have vegan across my stomach. I've been vegan for 14 years, and I got that tattoo I think about 5 years after I'd first gone vegan. I have a tattoo for my grandmother that passed away back in 2003, which is a cool one. I have, my leg is actually full of kind of like tour tattoos, so they're like just stuff you get done on the fly, and a lot of them are like silly or jokey, but at the same time, you know, each tattoo represents a period of my life or a tour that I've done with my friends. So I guess it changes all the time, you know, like I like a lot of different styles. I haven't got anything really portrait-like, and I would like to get some kind of portrait done. And I also quite like the realistic looking color portraits. So I'm trying to find a good artist to do something like that, and then, you know, settle on an idea. But I think both Rachy and Derek's current style is probably my favorite, and that's what I have the most of. And it's kind of like I guess like a simple new school style. Rachy's style developed to look almost like watercolor in some sense, but with really strong, thick black lines. And Derek just does a lot of kind of really dark stuff, you know, like zombie girls, and they're both really good at animals, so I have a lot of animal tattoos. I have a plan for one of my legs, which is going to be a full piece of basically a bunch of wolves kind of like running wild and kind of fighting each other and snarling. I think I'm going to have Rachy do that, the same artist that did my back. I've seen some sort of similar work to do with animals that she's done, and I think she'll nail it. So, but yeah, I'm still working on my back. I have maybe 3-4 sessions left to go on that. That sucks. I think we're in a pretty good place as far as how society in general views tattooed people. I remember when I first started getting tattooed 11, 12 years ago, it was still quite frowned upon. I know in my hometown of Adelaide, South Australia, there's still a lot of nightclubs that won't let me in or someone with exposed tattoos. But that's sort of, I feel like that's becoming a thing of the past in a lot of the rest of the world. it's pretty normal. Like Australia wide, a lot of young people have tattoos. I've noticed it here in the States as well. The only places I've been to sort of recently, which still look at me like I'm a bit of a freak, were places in like Eastern Europe and the Middle East. I went to Israel on a tour with my band, and also I played Slovakia a couple of times in the last couple of years. And walking down the main streets in those places and going to Jerusalem, people there just don't seem to understand, which is fine, and that's probably just because it's not very common there. But yeah, I think in general, overall, it's a really accepted thing. There's that old saying, good tattoos aren't cheap and cheap tattoos aren't good, so that's probably the first thing I tell someone. Yeah, I would say don't be deterred by cost and price. I think what I found was that I would just look through a bunch of magazines, look online, look at so many different pieces, find different artists, maybe talk to my friends, see who they'd be tattooed by, and then make a choice of what style tattoo you're after, and then find an artist based on that, someone who's going to be really good at that style. I've actually used a lot of different healing techniques over time, and lately I've basically dry heal all my tattoos, and I'll just use some scentless lotion on them once they start kind of peeling. I think a lot of old people still don't really understand the tattoo culture, even though tattoos have been around for a long time. Like my grandparents, they don't understand. I guess they accept me for who I am, which is really cool. But yeah, like I said before, traveling to some strange places where it's not so common, you definitely notice a difference in people's behavior, or at least their reaction to seeing you. I've been tattooed for so long that I almost don't notice people staring at me anymore. I did at first and it was really obvious, but I probably couldn't tell you walking down the street if people were looking at me or not nowadays. I guess some of my tattoos have, some personal meaning or a story behind them, and others were just picked based on, an artist's style that I really like, and I've just given them a rough idea and said, I think this will look cool, and then they draw something cool. My most recent piece is on my back, and it's not so much a story as there is some meaning behind the tattoo. It's a portrait of the Norse goddess Freya, who is the goddess of love, war, beauty, fertility, just about everything. And she appears all throughout Norse mythology. She has sort of like I forget what they call it. When you die in the Norse afterlife, you go to a great hall, and she governs one of the halls and Thor governs the other hall. So I have her face really big on my back with the two cats on my butt cheeks that they pull her chariot, so I can show you that. And then these guys. My butt. What else do I have? I have my vegan tattoo, which I mentioned earlier, across my stomach. This wolf that Derek Noble did. I have a lot of animal tattoos. Being vegan, I love animals, and I find them very fascinating. So I have a wolf here, a tiger, a deer that's been attacked by the tiger, a couple sharks, and yeah, cats. And then just my tour leg. So I have a tour tattoo from when I was playing for Bring Me the Horizon. I have a tattoo here, which is the song title of one of I Kill the Prom Queen's songs, Sharks in Your Mouth. I have this Thor's hammer with a Norwegian font that says "Show the Tits" Norwegian. I got that done at a Norwegian festival. Yeah, that's about it. I have two sleeves. One's just Oriental style, no necessary meaning behind it. I have rock and roll on my knuckles, which is what I do for a job. And then this Derek Noble sleeve was my first sleeve by him, just a couple of zombie girls, and yeah, something that looks kind of cool. Alright, so I've just been talking about my tattoos. Thanks for checking it out. My band I Killed the Prom Queen has a new record out. It's called Beloved, and it's out through Epitaph Records right now. You can get it at Best Buy, Hot Topic, iTunes. So yeah, thanks for watching. You've been watching me on Ink and Honor.